Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Ches. We're on Zayin Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Amar le Rav Yitzchak le Rav Nachman. Rav Yitzchak asked Rav Nachman the following question: My taima lo yosi mar. Why have you not come? Lebei knishta litzluyei. Why do you daven yourself at home and don't attend the shul and don't daven together with the tzibur, with the congregation? Amar le lo yechilna. I'm weak and I can't attend shul. Amar le, if that's the case, you don't have to give up on tefillah b'tzibur. Lichan tefillah mar asara. Let them assemble 10 people, velitzlei, and daven with you. So you will have tefillah b'tzibur. Amar le trichli milsa, that too is burdensome for me. So you continue, v'lei malei mar lishlucha detzibura. Why don't we instruct the messenger of the congregation that be'idna demasi tzibura, when the tzibur is davening, leisi l'du lamar, they should come inform you and tell you, now is the time that the tzibur is davening. And what's the point of doing that? So that when you daven, you will be davening together with the rest of the tzibur. Your tefillah will coincide with the tefillah of the tzibur. That too constitutes some form of tefillah b'tzibur. Amar lei, so Rav Nachman said, "My kuli hai, is this really so significant? Even though I'm davening on my own, I need to daven at the same point in time as the congregation." Amar lei, yes, the Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rechai. We find that even this has some sort of element of a public prayer. My tefillah to you, Hashem, is during a moment, a favorable moment, Eis Ratzain. A Masa Eis Ratzain, when is considered to be a favorable moment, B'shah Tzibur Mispalin, while the Tzibur are davening. And the Pasuk says, V'ani tefillah si, my individual tefillah, even though I'm davening on my own, but as long as it's B'shah Tzibur Mispalim, it coincides, it is prayed at the same time as the Tzibur, that too constitutes an element, some form of tefillah b'tzibur. Rabbi Yisrael B'chinei Mahacha. We find another pasuk which extols the virtues of a tefillah b'tzibur. Kol Amar Hashem be'is rotzain anitzicha. I responded to you in an eis rotzain, which is referring to the tefillah of the tzibur. We have another pasuk, Hein kel kaber layimas. Hashem won't reject the tefillah of the kaber of the tzibur. Uksiv pada b'shalom nafshi. Hashem redeemed in peace my soul, mikrav li, from those who battled against me. Kiravim hayumadu. There were many who opposed me. So we see that tefillah b'tzibur, at least in the zman of the tzibur, has a special power and is accepted. Tani nami hachi, Rabbi Nasan Aimer, menayin shein HaKadosh Baruch Hu moyes v'tfilas shel rabbim. What do we find? That Hashem doesn't reject the tefillah of the rabbim, of the congregation. Shenemar hein kel kabir v'layimas. Hashem will not be moyes. Hashem will not reject the tefillah of the rabbi. Muksiv pada b'shalom nafshi mikrav li. The tefillah was accepted and I was redeemed. Says the Gemara. According to the Bach, we have to add my pada b'shalom nafshi. What is the meaning of this pasuk? Hashem redeemed my nefesh because of an account of shalom, on account of peace. Amar Kadosh Baruch. Hashem said as follows: one who is immersed in Torah, he involves himself in chesed, and he takes care to daven together with the tzibur. So these are acts of shalom, as Rashi explains. Torah is called shalom, kol nesiva shalom. Torah combines the physical world with the spiritual world. Torah instructs us how to connect this world with the upper worlds. It creates peace in the entire universe. Chesed surely creates peace when one does a favor for his friend. There's a mutual feeling of closeness and of peace. Umispal min hatzibur, and in addition to these things of Torah and Chesed, which are included in Shalom, he also davens with the tzibur. Mal and ya'olav kilub tu'uni. The Torah considers it, Hashem credits him as if Kilub da'uni, Hashem redeemed li, myself, ubanai, my children, my umas ha'ilam, from amongst the nations. The Shekhinah is in Golus, is in exile amongst the nations. At the time when the Beis HaMikdash was built, Al Machainai, the Shekhinah was in its proper resting place. So too, Bizman Hazeh, in today's time, says the Maharsha, when one is involved in these three pillars of spirituality, Torah, Avodah, and Gemilas Chasadim, Torah, Chesed, and Tefillah, proper Tefillah, it's as though he's redeeming the Shekhinah from Golus. It is as though he's reenacting the Binyan Beis Hamikdash, and the divine presence is resting in its proper place. Continues the Gemara. One who has a shul in his city, but he doesn't frequent the shul. Nikra Shachin Ra, he's considered to be bad neighbor. Shenemar Koyomer Hashem, Hashem says, Al Kol Shechena Heroim, all of my bad neighbors, Hanoige Benachla, who come to ruin my inheritance, Asher Nchaltes Ames Yisrael, which I have given over to my nation, Klal Yisrael. The Mashar explains that every shul is considered to be Hashem's Nachla. It is reminiscent of Eretz Yisrael, since Chazal tell us that in the future, the Bati Knesiyas and Bati Midrashis of Chutzlars will be transplanted to Eretz Yisrael. So even nowadays, a shul, a Beis Medrash, is considered to be like Eretz Yisrael territory. It is Nachlas Hashem. So hence the pasuk describing one who does not frequent the shul, it describes it as one who is affecting the Nachla, who is coming to damage, who is not coming to take advantage of the Nachlas Hashem, the shul. Not only that, he ends up causing him and his children to go into exile. I will cast them from their land, and the house of Yehuda I will cast from there. And this is the ending of the previous pasuk, describing one who does not frequent the shul. They told Rabbi Yochanan, there's an interesting phenomenon taking place. There are actually elders living in Bavel. Tama, he was puzzled. V'amar, he said, L'man yirbu yameichem, v'yimei v'nechem, al adamaksiv, the Torah, which describes the bracha, the blessing of long life, seems to indicate that this will only occur al ha'adam on Eretz Yisrael. Ava b'chutz la'aretz loy, this will not happen in chutz la'aretz. So how could that be that there are older people in chutz la'aretz? Kivan the Amrle, when they added to him, when they gave him another fact, they told him that mekhadmi umechashchi lebeknishta, that these elders, they come early and they stay late in shul. Oh, he said, Amar, if so, haini da'ahani lehu. This affected their longevity. Kada Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi libnei. Just like Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi told his children, he gave them instructions. Kadimu v'chashichu. Come early and stay late. Va'aylu lebeknishta. You should spend the bulk of your day in Beis Medrash. Kehechi the serchu chayus, that you have long lives. So the Maharsha explains again that the shul, the Beis HaKnesset, the Beis HaMedrash, even in Chutz La'aretz, is considered Eretz Yisrael territory, since in the future it will be transplanted to Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, the same effect that Eretz Yisrael has on one, so too the Beis HaKnesset, even in Chutz La'aretz, has the same effect on one who attends it constantly. He spends his life there, he resides there. He is living as though he's in Eretz Yisrael, and therefore he merits Arichas Yamim. Omar Achabar Chanina Maikra. What do we find that going to the Beis Medrash merits a person long life? Ashri Adam, fortunate is the person Shomer who listens to me. Lishka Dal Daisoisa Yom Yom. He hurries. He is diligent about coming to my doors, to my Beis Medrash every single day. Lishmar Mezuzas Pischai, to guard over the doorposts of my entrances. So this is a person who comes early, stays late. Uksiv Basreiki Moitzei Matzachaim, one who finds me finds life. This is a skula for Arichos Yomim. Amar Chizah Lo'olam Yikanis Adam Shnei Psachim Beis HaKnesses. One enters a shul, he should go through two doorways. Says the Gemara, Shnei Psachim Sakadaitach. Do you mean literally two doorways? Not every shul has two doorways. Ela Ema Shir Shnei Psachim. He should go inside and move into the Beis Medrash, move into the shul, a sheer, an amount of two doorways, which is 8 tfachim total, v'achach yispal, and then he should begin davening. Don't daven near the doorway. It appears as though he's waiting for tefillah to be over, to be able to rush out. So in conclusion, regarding tefillah, it is advised for a person to daven b'tzibur, with the tzibur in the Beis HaKnesses, but if that is not possible, he should at least see that his tefillah coincides with the time of the congregation's prayer. We find that one who is involved in Torah, in Chesed and Tefillah Imat Tzibur, it is as though he had redeemed Hashem and the Shekhinah from the Golus. We find that attending the Beis HaKnesses coming early, staying late, earns one arichas yamim, long life. And finally, the halacha that a person should enter the shir, the amount of shtei psachim, and then begin to daven. Continues the Gemara. Every devout person should daven to you le'es mitzay. Le'es, that when it comes to time that he has needs, mitzay, he should find them. It should be provided to him. So we have several interpretations. What is the word mitzay referring to? What type of need? Amar Chanina le'es mitzay zu isha. It's referring to a wife. Shenama matza isha matzatayv. One who finds a wife, he finds goodness. V'ma'arava kinasav ich inish itza. In Marav and Eretz Yisrael, when one would prepare to get married, Amrle, they asked him, How was your experience here? Matzah or maitza? Did you find? Was it matzah? Was your wife described as matzah or rather as maitza? Matzah, was it good? And described with the word matzah, as the pasuk says, matzah isha matzah tayv. One who finds a woman finds goodness, v'yafek ratzim Hashem, and this is an expression of goodness from goodwill from Hashem. So that is on the good side. Matzah, meaning you found a good wife. Or Moitza, did you find somebody that wasn't necessarily good? I find bitter, more bitter than death, as a isha, the wife. So that's what that was what the people in Marava used to ask the person preparing for marriage. Are you preparing for a marriage of matzah, of goodness, or moitza, of bitterness? Now, it seems that the point of this conversation was they were actually instructing the chassan. Look, marriage can be the most beautiful institution in the world, provided that it is treated properly, it is tended to properly. You invest in it. You see to it that it develops properly. Rav Avraham Pram once told me after my wedding, he says, look, you're looking at me, I'm an older person, and you just got married, why should I be speaking to you about such matters? But listen to what I'm telling you. For the rest of your life, every single day, invest in your marriage. Work on your shalom bayis. So it's up to the person which way he'd like to channel his marriage. So that's one pshat in matzah, that he found a wife. It's speaking about the need of a person regarding the isha. Rav Nassan Eimer, the next interpretation too, al zois isfal kol chased elech leis mitzay. What is mitzay referring to? Rav Nassan Eimer leis mitzay zu Torah. It's referring to finding Torah, to retaining Torah, to acquiring Torah. Shenemar ki moitzoi matzachayim. One who finds me finds life. It's referring to learning Torah. Rav Nachum Ritzuk Amar leis mitzoi zu misa. It's regarding misa, that a chassid davens to Hashem. Hashem, the misa should be a proper death. Shenemar lamoves tzitzoros. There are many avenues of death. Tanyam Yehochi, we've learned in a brayso, Shamo is a shloisha. Mine misa nivur boilam. There are 903 types of misa. Shenam ala moves teitzois. There are many avenues to death. Teitzois begematria chiyava. The word teitzois, the numeric value is 903. Kasha shebukulon, the most severe form of death, the most painful form is askara. Nicha shebukulon, the most pleasant one is neshika, is the misas neshika, where Hashem draws out the neshama from the guf in a very pleasant manner. Askara, damya. How do we describe the pain of askara? It is described as a mashal analogy to a chizra. Begava de amra, the thorns that get stuck and entangled with a ball of shared wool. The lachir nashra, when one tries to yank it away, and inevitably some of the strands, some of the fibers of the wool will get entangled and remain with the thorns. Similarly, the misas askara, where the neshama needs to be extracted from the guf, you're trying to extract a spiritual thing from a physical guf, and it being that it's so entangled with each other, it's an experience of great pain. There's another description, they used to tie together the boats with thick ropes and force it through small holes, so the friction would hold it together and keep the boat together. This was where they couldn't use metal. Rashi explains it was some location in the ocean where they couldn't use metal, and they needed to use strictly ropes. So it's like forcing the rope through one of those small holes, and it is very painful. Neshika, on the other hand, the misas neshika, which is very pleasant, damya, it's compared to kimishcha benisa machalba, simply pulling out a hair from some milk. It's a very uneventful procedure. So that's the point of a person's tefillah to Hashem, that he should be zeicha, he should merit to have a pleasant experience during his misa. Rav Yechon Amar, Leis Mitzvah, what is Leis Mitzvah referring to? The Kvura. He is davening to be zeicha to Kvura. Rav Chanina Ma'ikra, what do we find? That Kvura, to be zeicha to Kvura, is indeed something to be glad about. Hasmeichim alagil, those who are happy because of their fortune. Yasisu kiyimtzu kever, they're happy because they found a kever. This is the phrase that people say. A person should constantly ask and daven Hashem for Rachmanis, so that even the last shovel full of earth that covers him after death should be successful, should be peaceful. Finally, one more pshat in the pasuk of Leis Mitzvah, Marzucha Amar Leis Mitzvah is a Beis HaKisei. It's referring to tending to a person's needs. This pshat is greater than all of them. It is so crucial for a person to maintain his health and his well-being in order for him to be able to serve Hashem properly. So in conclusion, a chassid davens to Hashem le'is mitzvah, so when the time comes, he should have his needs fulfilled. What is it referring to? We have 5 different interpretations. Either it's referring to an isha, either Torah, or misa, or kvura, or finally a beis hakisei. Continues the Gemara. Amalei Rav l'Raf Mapapa. Leima lamar. Tell us, please, Mahani Mili Ma'alisa the Amras Mishved Rav Chizda. Tell us something, some of the good things that you say in the name of Rav Chizda regarding the Mili, the Beit Knishta, regarding the halachas of davening of shul. Amalei he told him, Hochi Am Rav Chizda. This is what Rav Chizda says. Mai dechsiv Oyev Hashem Shari Tzion. Hashem favors the gates of Tzion Mikol Mishkan Yaakov from more than all the sanctuaries of Yaakov. What does this mean? Oyev Hashem. Hashem favors the Sha'arim HaMetzuyanim B'Halacha, those locations which were set aside, where people sit and immerse in Torah and arrive at practical halacha l'maisa. Yosim b'teknis b'timidrashis. This is more favorable to Hashem than the shuls and the b'timidrashis, where there is no constant learning taking place. V'hainu davar mechibar abi rami mishmei d'ra'ula. From the day of the Churban Beis Hamikdash, Hashem doesn't have the Beis Hamikdash, which was an establishment of Kedusha in this world. Since that happened, Hashem only has all he has is the 4 amas of halacha, the place where people are set themselves, are kaver themselves, establish themselves to delve into the words of Torah, and then to learn halacha in a practical manner. V'amar Abayi, Meireish, initially, I used to learn at home, I used to go to shul to daven. But however, kivan the shamana laha, once I heard laha the Amar B'chibar Ami Mishmei De'ula, once I heard the aforementioned statement that Miyom Shechar Beis Hamikdash, from the day of the Churban, Ein Lo Yidakadosh Baruch Hu B'Olamai, Ela Arba Amos Lach B'Alvad, Hashem favors the 4 amas of halacha, the place of Torah study. In that case, Lo Yava Mitzlina, therefore I changed my place of prayer. I davened only Alecha the Garisna, only where I study Torah, since that location is on a greater level of Kedusha than a Beis HaKnesses. And the Rishonim say, certainly he davened with a tzibur, but the lesson here is, although there was a smaller crowd, the congregation wasn't as big, as numerous as it was in the Beis HaKnesses, nevertheless, he preferred davening with a smaller tzibur, since it was in the location of Torah study. Continues the Gemara, Rav Amir Vasi, Afagav da'havalut leisar, even though they had 13 Beit Knishta b'Tveria, in their city of Tveria there were 13 shuls, le'matli alibeni amudei, they would prefer to daven only between the beams, heichad avagarsi, in their Beis HaMedrash, where they learned Torah. Continues the Gemara, V'amar Rav Chia bar Ami Mishedula, Gadol hanena bi'yigyoi, yosim yirshamayim. It is greater for a person to have benefit from the fruits of his own labor. He should be economically self-sufficient and not have to be dependent on presents, on people giving him his sustenance, or perhaps getting sustenance on account of his schar l'asad lavai, as we know the story of Rechonina and Deisa, who was granted 1 leg of his table, which was meant for the world to come, and as soon as he found out about that, he regretted it and he asked for it to be taken back, and indeed it was returned. So we see that a person should not need to resort to be given something that he doesn't really deserve in this world, it is greater for a person to benefit the fruit of his own labor in this world, more than one who is not economically self-sufficient, he is Yirei Shamayim, but needs to come on to others. Regarding Yirei Shamayim, it says, Asher ish Yeres Hashem. Fortunate is the person who has Yeres Hashem. Regarding a person who benefits from his own labor, it says, you'll eat the fruits of your work. You are fortunate and you have goodness. Says the Gemara, what are these two terms? You are fortunate in this world, and nothing will be detracted from your portion la'olam haba. However, by one who fears Hashem but does not have his own form of sustenance, the term v'tov does not apply to him, because on occasion even a portion of olam haba will have to be granted to him in this world, since he has no source of sustenance, and he will be lacking in the goodness of olam haba. Continues the Gemara, one should see to dwell, to reside next to his Rebbe, in close proximity to his teacher. Why is that? Because his Rebbe will look after him spiritually, he'll guide him, he'll advise him, he'll provide him with mussar, with reproof when necessary. As long as Shlomo HaMelech's Rebbe Shimon Megeira was alive, he didn't marry the daughter of Parei because of his Rebbe's presence. V'atanya asked the Gemara, Al Yader. We find the Brisa which seems to instruct us otherwise. A person is not advised to live in close proximity to his teacher. Says the Gemara, like Kasha, that is not difficult. It depends what we're speaking about. If we're speaking about a Talmud, a disciple who is subordinate to his master, he will listen to him, he will take instruction from him, then certainly it is better for him to live in close proximity to his teacher. However, the Brisa, which seems to indicate that it is not something one should do, the leikayfle, it is speaking about a student who is not subordinate to his master, and since he is bound to defy his instructions, better live elsewhere. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna bar Yehuda, Amar Rav Nachem, Amar Rav Ami. What is the meaning of the following pasuk? V'oizvei Hashem yichlu. Ones who leave Hashem, abandon Hashem, they will become annihilated. When the Sefer Torah is in service, they're leaning from the Torah, they're reading from the Torah, and he ignores and leaves. That is the description. V'oizvei Hashem yichlu. Ravo Nafik, Ravo, when he needed to leave, he left ben Gavra legavra, between one aliyah and the other. During that moment, that the actual reciting of the Torah was not taking place. But Rav Papa, may a person walk out between one pasuk and the other when the Meturgaman, when the translator was busy translating it for the public, they weren't actually reading from the Torah at that point. Is it permissible to leave? Ma'u teku, we leave it as a question, and the Rabbi Yonah says this is a suffix d'oraisa, a suffix regarding a biblical halacha, and we need to go, the chumrah, we need to be stringent, and one is not allowed to leave Memsukah L'Psukah. Rav Sheshes, Mahadur Api Begoris, during Kriyas HaTorah, when they were reading from the Torah, since his immersion in Torah was on such a high level, as Tosfos explains, he was Teirasuyim Nasai, he was completely permeated with Torah, he didn't do anything else, so he was absolved from Kriyas HaTorah, and he would involve himself in his own private study. When Kriyas HaTorah was taking place, he would simply turn away and learn. Amar, he said, Anan b'didan, we are occupied with our domain, with our activities. V'inu b'didu, and the rest of the congregation is busy with theirs. Amar Rav Huna bar Yehuda, Amar Rav Ami. La'olam yashlim adam parshiyos natzibur. We all heard of Bimar V'Sedra. This is a source of being mashlim parshiyos natzibur. A person should complete his parshiyos. He should recite the Torah together with the schedule of the tzibur. Shnai mikra. Twice he should read the Chumash Ve'echad Targum, and once he should translate and read Targum of Unklos. Says the Gemara, Afilu Ataris V'Divain, even the Psukim Ataris V'Divain, which discuss the pasuk of Ataris V'Divain, is a list of cities, and they do not contain a Targum Unklos. Even those Psukim, one needs to repeat 3 times. Instead of the Unklos, he should repeat it 3 times. Tosfos explains that some proposed that when one understands a different language, perhaps better than Onkelos, then it is preferred to read a different translation instead of Onkelos. But Tosfos says that is not so, since there are two purposes here. There are two benefits in reading the Targum of Onkelos. One is to understand better, to interpret the Psukim, and one is that in Onkelos there is contained many insights and explanations to the Torah that we don't find elsewhere. We know that Onkelos was handed down from Sinai, and therefore one is required to learn specifically Targum Onkelos on that account. Now, nowadays we don't really understand Onkelos as well as they used to, so some say it is good also to add Rashi as well, and it's brought down halacha that Yirei Shamayim, he does Shnai Mikra Ve'echad Targum and adds Rashi as well. Says the Gemara, why is it so important to be Ma'amer Sedra? Shekala Mashlim Parashiyos Matzibur, one who completes his parashas together to coincide with the congregation. Marichan Layom of Shneisav, it is a school he merits long days and years. Rabbi Abaye Savar Lashlaminu, he figured, he had a plan. He's going to do the whole entire Chumash. Savar Lashlaminu Parashiyasa, he would complete the whole Chumash, all the parashas, the Kulishat of the whole year. But Mali Yom Kippurei, on Erev Yom Kippur, when Farshim say he wanted to earn many schusim before the Yom Hadin, before Yom Kippur, and therefore he wanted to do everything at once. Tana le'echia barav medifti, you may not do so. Ksiv enisem esh nafshesechem. The pasuk says one is to afflict himself, to fast, batisha l'chodesh berev, already on the 9th day. Says the Gemara, does that make sense? Do we fast on the 9th day? We all fast only on Yom Kippur, which is the 10th day. So what does the pasuk mean when the pasuk says that he will be misana also on the 9th day? Rather, it's coming to teach you. One who eats and drinks on the 9th day of Tishrei to prepare himself for Yom Kippur, Malol v'akasav the Torah credits him ki'ilu mis'ana chiv yasir. He gets schar, he gets a reward as if he fasted for 2 days. Rabbi Yena says that the reason for the obligation to eat and drink on the 9th day, it is on account of the simcha of Yom Kippur. It is a Yom Tov for us. Since we may not eat on Yom Kippur itself, the Su'udah of the Yom Tov is preceded, gets pushed back to Erev Yom Kippur on the 9th day. So, in conclusion, he was telling him, this is a day to be involved in the mitzvahs hayom of achil u'shtia, and not to be preoccupied with being ma'aser the entire chumash. Savalak domino. In that case, he said, okay, I won't do it today, but nevertheless, I'll precede the tzibur, I'll say it before the congregation gets to those parshas. Amalei Usaba, until an elder told him, no, Tanina of Lint and Abraisa, you must do it in accordance to the schedule of the tzibur. Don't do it early and don't delay. Kedamel of Shub and Levi Levnei. Rishon and Levi instructed his children. He gave them 3 instructions. Number 1, Ashlimu Parshas Saychim HaTzibur. You should complete your parshas with the tzibur, Shnai Mikra Ve'echad Targum, and go along with the tzibur schedule. Now, what does it mean to go along with the tzibur schedule? Tosfos explains that one may begin the next week's parsha as soon as they begin reading it during mincha on the preceding Shabbos. That is already considered to be the beginning of the recital of next week's parsha, and one may begin his Shnai Mikra Ve'echad Targum from that point. So that was the first thing that he instructed his children. Take care to be mashlim parshas Saycha with the tzibur. Number 2, hizaru b'vridin kar b'Yehuda. When you shecht a bird, take care to completely cut the vridin, the main veins, by the neck, in order to allow the blood to leave. The son of Yehuda Omer, ashishad sabridin. One must take care to do that. V'hizaru b'zaken sheshachat hamudai. The third thing he told them was, take great care to properly respect a zaken, an older person, sheshachach talmudai machmas ansai. He had learned once, he was full of Torah, and somehow he unavoidably forgot his learning. You have to still have respect for him. How do we know that? The Amrinan, since we say luchais is shivur luchais v'nochais barim, even though the tablets of luchais were broken and new luchais were formed, however, the Torah tells us you must put both sets. You must place even the shivur luchais, the broken luchais, in the arain. You have to treat it with great respect, equal to the luchas that were intact. So too a zaken sheshachach talmudai, who has forgotten his Torah, he he resembles luchais that were broken, and the Torah that he learned are still contained in him. The neshama never forgets anything, and therefore you must have the full respect for him. Amalu Rav Livnei, Rav instructed his children as follows: when you cut meat, don't place it on your hand and cut it. Why? It is a danger to do that. You might cut through your hand. Another pshat, not to ruin the suda, because even if just a drop of dam of blood comes out and goes onto the basar, people will be repulsed from it and you will ruin your suda. That's the first thing he told them. The second thing he told them, al teishva mitas aramis. Don't sleep, don't sit on a bed of Aramaic woman. Number 3, he told them, don't pass by the Acher Beis HaKnesses, don't pass by the door of the Shul with Shah, Shatzibur Mispalin, when the tzibur is engaged in prayer, and it seems like you're ignoring the tzibur, you're not taking heed, you're just passing by doing your own thing. Explains the Gemara. What does it mean, al teishu al mitas aramis? Don't sit on a mita, on a bed of a guy. Ikad Amri, some say what he meant was as follows: Lo yisigana b'lei krishma. Don't go to sleep without saying krishma al mita. That is reminiscent of a mitas aramis, of a goysher way of going to sleep. Take care to say your krishma prior to lying down. Ikad Amri, another pshat: Lo yitanasru giryosa. Don't marry a giyeris. Some explain this to mean that Rava was a kohen and so were his children, so he warned them accordingly, because a kohen may not marry a giyeris. Mikadamri, there's another pshat, Aramis mamish. Don't ever sit on the bed of Aramis, of a goiter. This is on account of a story, an incident that took place with Rav Papa. The Rav Papa Ozal Gal Aramis. Rav Papa was owed money by a specific Aramaic woman, and he came to collect his debt. So she wanted to avoid having to repay her debt, so she concocted this plot against him. And she said to him, look, sit down on this bed, shave, take a seat. So Rav Papa was smarter than that, and he said, Amarla, Eini Yoshev, I will not sit down, refuse to sit. Asher Tagvias Hamita. Pick up the bed, lift up the bed, and let me see what's underneath. Hikvias Hamita, she lifted the bed, Umatu Shamtinek Meis, and they found a dead child. She had planted this dead child underneath the bed, so that when Rav Papa sits down, she could proclaim to all, look, Rav Papa killed a child. And this way, he'll be punished and she'll be somehow absolved from having to pay him his debt. Mikana Chachamim, from this story, Chachamim derived, also Leishav Amitas Haramis, one must take care never to sit down on a mita of a Aramaic woman, of a non-Jewish woman. What's the third and final thing he told them about? Tavra Acher Beis HaKnesses, V'shah Shashibu Mitzpalin. Don't pass by the doorway of the tzibur when they're davening. This supports the halacha of Rav Shimon Levi, the Rav Shimon Levi. Also la'adam shiyavar Acher Beis HaKnesses, V'shah Shasibur Mitzpalin. So, in conclusion, we have 3 instructions that Rav Shimon Levi gave his children. Number 1, regarding being mashlim parshiyoseihem, complete your parshiyos with the tzibur, recite Shnai Mikveh Chatargim. The second thing he told them was, take care to cut the vridin, the arteries, so that the blood completely gets drained out. This is a bird. And the third thing was, take great care to give the proper respect to an elder, even though he has completely forgotten his Torah. The 3 things that Rava taught his children was, number 1, take care when you cut meat. Don't do it in a dangerous way. Don't do it in a repulsive way. The second thing he told them was, never sit on a mita aramis. We have 3 explanations to that. Number 1, take care to say krishma prior to sleep. Number 2, don't marry a giyeris. And number 3, literally before you sit down on a goysha woman's bed, be careful, check what's underneath. And the third and final thing he told them was, when you walk by a shul, take care that you don't pass by the door while the tzibur is davening and you don't join them. Continues the Gemara. This halacha, that a person may not pass by Acher Beis HaKnesses during Tefillah Amar Abaye, there are certain stipulations, certain conditions to that. For Le'amar, there's only a concern, El Deleka Pischa Achrina, when there's no other door to the shul. Aval Ika Pischa Achrina Les Lamba, if the shul has 2 doorways, So it's not a concern when he passes by one. Perhaps he'll be going through the second one, and therefore it doesn't appear as though he is rejecting the tefillah of the tzibur. Even though, practically speaking, he's not entering the shul even through the second doorway, but there's no appearance, it's not obvious from his action when he passes one doorway that he is not going to be joining the tzibur through the other doorway. And it is not a concern when there's no other shul in town. If this is the only shul, then it is a concern. Because why isn't he joining the tzibur? If there's another shul around, it's not a concern, because people will simply say, okay, he's going to the other shul. And it's not a concern if he's not carrying a load, which shows that he's preoccupied, he's busy, engaged in a different activity. It doesn't appear as though he is doing away, he's belittling the activity of the tzibur. It is only a concern if he's not running, because if a person is running, it appears as though he's preoccupied, he's overtaken by his activities, and again, it doesn't look like he's rejecting the tzibur. And finally, it is only if he's not wearing tefillin on his head, because if he's wearing tefillin, then on account of his tefillin, it's pretty obvious that he's accepting the yoke of Hashem on himself, and he's not rejecting the spiritual activities that the tzibur is being involved in. If one of these things are present, either the shul has two doors, or there's another shul in town, or he's running, or he's carrying a load, or he's wearing tefillin, in those cases, it is permitted to pass by the doorway of a shul, it is not a concern. Tanya Omer Akiva. There are three things that on account of them, I favor the going from Madai. Number one, when they cut meat, they do it only on the table. As we said earlier, otherwise it can cause mius, it can cause danger. When they kiss, they kiss on the hand. They don't do it pel peh, mouth to mouth. Marshal explains, an ashika pel peh is unique to an ish v'isha. Otherwise, derech tznius is to place the kiss elsewhere. When they go to discuss something confidential, they go discuss it out in the field, as Rashi says, the amri inchi, people say, aznaim l'kaisel, the wall has ears. One should take care to discuss confidential matters in private. What do we find a similar thing in the Torah, that confidential discussion should take place in private? Yaakov went and called, he called him out to the field, to his flock, because he needed to discuss with them an urgent matter which was private, which was confidential, regarding their future plans, their travel plans, and therefore needed to be done out in the Sada. On account of three things, I favor the parsim, the going from paras. They're modest, they're tsunua when they eat. Utsnum beis hakisei, utsnum davar achar, and they're modest regarding tashmish, regarding relations. Continues the Gemara, Anitzivisil Mukudashai. I command, Hashem is saying, I commanded Mukudashai, those who are designated for me, I sent them to destroy Bavel. Tana Reb Yosef, who's this referring to? Elar Parsim, these are the going from Paras, HaMukudashan, Muzmanim Gehenim. They're designated for Gehenim. It means even though they have certain good attributes, certain positive behaviors, nevertheless, they are designated for Gehenim on account of their sins. Continues the Gemara. Rav Gamliel, referring back to the Zman of Kriya Shema, Rav Gamliel holds that one may recite Kriya Shema Shel Arvis up until Aleis HaShachar. Now the question is, what about the time frame between Aleis HaShachar, between the light of dawn, and Eitz HaChama, when the sun begins rising? What is the status, what is the halachic status of those moments? Is that considered to be the time that one may recite Kriya Shema Shel Arvis? Is that considered to be Laila, or rather the time of Kriya Shema Shel Shachar is already morning? Continues the Gemara. Amar B'Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Halacha Rav Gamliel, the halacha follows Rav Gamliel that one may say Kriya Shema until the morning. Tanya Rav Shimon Chayomer. Very interesting halacha. Pa'amim, at times, she'adam keiru Kriya Shema shtei pa'am b'layla. One can recite Kriya Shema twice in one night. Achas koydem she'alam shachar. The first time he is saying Kriya Shema before the light of dawn arrives. Va'achas, and the second time, la'achar she'alam shachar. He says Kriya Shema once right before dawn, and one immediately following Aleis HaShachar. And this man can be Yotzei, both Krishmas. He fulfilled both obligations. He fulfilled the mitzvah of Krishma Shel Arvis on account of his recital of Krishma before Aleis HaShachar. And in addition, a couple of minutes later, when it was still dark outside, being that he repeated Krishma, that is applied to his mitzvah of Krishma Shel Yom. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Let's just evaluate your choice of words. Initially you said, Hagov Akasha. It seems to be a self-contradiction. Initially you said, Amris, Pa'amim Sha'adam Kari Krishma Shteipam Malayla. One can recite twice Krishma in one night. That seems to imply, when one says Krishma before Alois and after Alois, they're both in the domain of Laila. Alma la'achash yalmud hashachar Lailahu. Apparently, even after Alois HaShachar, since it is still dark outside, it is considered to be Laila. Okay. V'hadatani, then you go ahead and follow up and say, by doing so, by reciting Krishma once prior to Alois and one following Alois, he is fulfilling both obligations. Achal shel Yom, achal shel Laila. He is being Makayim the Chiyuv of Krishma shel Yom, as well as the Krishma shel Laila. So you're calling this point in time Yom. You're calling it day. How does that make sense? Alma Yomamahu. Is it night or is it day? It's just a semantic discussion here. It says the Gemara, certainly, even after Aleis HaShachar, since it's still dark, so universally it is still considered to be Laila. Why over here in this brayso do we refer to it as being Yom? It is only with regard to the obligation of Krishma Shel Shachris. Regarding the mitzvah of Krishma, it has a status of day. Why? Why is Krishma different than all other mitzvahs? Regarding other mitzvahs, it has a status of Laila. It's still dark outside until Neitzachama, until the sun actually begins to rise. Why regarding Krishma is the moment after Alois, the period between Alois and Neitzachama considered to be morning? Says the Gemara, there are people that are already getting up at that moment. They're already waking up. And regarding Krishma, what constitutes morning? It follows the sleep and waking patterns of people. So in conclusion, according to this version of the Gemara of Rav Shimon Rechai's halacha, if one recites Krishma once prior to Aleis HaShachar and once following Aleis HaShachar, even though regarding other mitzvahs, it is still considered to be Laila even after Aleis HaShachar, even though it is time to turn light. According to Rav Shimon Rechai, regarding Krishma, it has a status of Yom, and he is Yotzi, fulfills his obligation of Krishma Shel Yom. So this man recited Krishma minutes apart. The first one is being Yotzi Krishma Shel Arvis, and the second one is credited to Krishma Shel Shachris. Continues the Gemara, Brachos Rachanina Rishon Levi, Halacha Krishma Rishon Rechai. The halacha follows Rishon Rechai that if one recites Krishma immediately after Aleis HaShachar, he can fulfill the obligation of Krishma Shel Shachris. Some had a different version in this whole Gemara. The Sanya of Shimon Chai Omer, Meshimon Rekiva, Pa'amim she'adam koyer Krishma shtei pa'am b'yom. Sometimes it could be that a person can recite Krishma twice in one day. Achas koydem ha'netzachama, v'achas la'achar netzachama. This is speaking about one who recites Krishma when it is already turning light. It is already after the light of dawn has arrived. So the first one is after Aleis HaShachar, but prior to Neitzachama, prior to the sun actually rising. And another time immediately after Neitzachama. And by doing so, he fulfills a double obligation. The first Krishma recited prior to Neitzachama is credited to his chiyuv of Krishma Shel Arvis, and the second one is considered to be Krishma Shel Shachris. Says the Gemara once again, a semantics problem. Haguf Akasha. Let's evaluate your wording. Amrs, you began to say, Pa'amim shadam koyer Krishma shtei pa'am b'yom. When one recites Krishma twice in one day, which was the first one before Neitzachama, the second one after Neitzachama. Obviously, the first recital, which took place before Neitzachama, since it was already beginning to get light, it was after Aleis HaShachar, you consider that to be Yemama. Alma koydem Neitzachama Yemamahu, although it is still before Neitzachama. Then you continue and you say, by doing so, he fulfills his double obligation. He fulfills an obligation of Achas Shel Yom. The second Krishma after Neitzachama is credited to Krishma Shel Yom. V'Achas Shel Laila, and the first one, which was recited prior to Netzach Chama, is considered to be the mitzvah Krishma Shel Arvis. So now you're calling it Laila. So let's decide, is the point in time prior to Netzach Chama considered to be Yom, like you initially said, or rather is considered to be Laila? Says the Gemara, Loi. No. La'ilam imamahu. Certainly, the moment prior to Netzach Chama, since it is already after Alis HaShachar, is already turning light, is considered to be Yamama regarding other mitzvahs. However, regarding Krishma, V'adikari Leili, why do I term it? Why do I call it Laila? That is only with regard to mitzvahs Krishma, which follows other parameters. Although it is already turning light and has the status of Yamama, nevertheless, since it is still before Netzach Chama, and some people are still asleep at that time, he can be Yaitzik and fulfill his obligation of Krishma Shel Arvis. Some people are still sleeping at that moment. In conclusion, said Rav Chanina, Rav Shimon Levi, Halacha, Rav Shimon, Shimon Akiva, that one may conduct himself in this manner. And we have two versions of this halacha. According to the first version of the Gemara, when one recites Krishma twice, once prior to Aleis HaShachar, once following Aleis HaShachar, the first one is credited to Krishma Shel Arvis, the second one is considered to be Krishma Shel Shachris. According to the second version of the Gemara, when one reads Krishma twice, once prior to Netzach Chama, sunrise, and once following Netzach Chama, the first one can be considered to be Krishma Shel Arvis, even though it's already getting light, and the second one is Krishma Shel Shachris. Continues the Gemara, Amar of Zera, when one recites Krishma in this manner so close to morning, he should not recite the blessing of Hashkivenu, where we ask Hashem to grant us a good sleep, and since it's already close to morning, it is already not the main Zman Shchiva, it is Seif, it is the end of the Zman Shchiva of lying down, therefore it is not fitting to recite this bracha. Continues the Gemara, Ki Asar Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef. Omar, he said, how did Rav Acha Rav Chanina, this is what we just mentioned, that Rav Acha Rav Chanina, Omar Shimon Levi, in the name of Shimon Levi, concluded that the halacha follows Rav Shimon's opinion. La beferish itma, this wasn't explicitly stated. Ela machlala itma, this was inferred, this was implied from an incident. There was a pair of Tamid Chachamim. They became intoxicated, the Hilula at the wedding, the braid of Shimon Levi, of the son of Shimon Levi. And it got late, it was close to morning, they hadn't yet recited Krishma. Also, Shimon Levi. They asked him, what should we do? Omar, so he said, go ahead, recite Krishma even though it's so close to morning. Kedai Reb Shimon. Worthy is Reb Shimon, lismechalav, to rely on him, to follow his opinion, b'shasat chak. In a pressing moment in a shasat chak. So we see from here that he held that the practical halacha follows the view of Shimon Rechai, but this wasn't explicitly stated, but merely inferred from his response when he was asked during the incident at the wedding.